Welcome back to day 2 of Arts and Science Camp with the LCCA. Today, our theme is traveling around the world. You didn't know you were going to be a traveler, did you? We're going to be exploring international diversity. So, you have now just moved to India, and you have been asked to design a model of ancient irrigation by using the knowledge of simple machines using either a lever or a pulley system in your design. Just a brief little summary about simple machines. Simple machines are things that make our lives easier. They work together, they're combined, they make a compound machine, and we can get work done without sweating our guts out, right? Without working too hard. So we're going to use the lever, however you want to say it, and pulley system. The water must be successfully moved from one bin to another, with the second bin representing your crops, okay, that need to be watered. Your job is to create a system that moves most of the water without spilling or wasting water, or at least not much, because if you're trying to irrigate, you don't want to waste a lot of water, because you may not have a lot of water, so you gotta, use it wisely. So again, you can only use the supplies listed below. Now, this doesn't mean you gotta use all of them, but these are the only ones you can choose from. So before we get started, let's talk about the importance of irrigation. Now, just gonna throw this out there. If you may have been riding along as you're going to the beach or going, on vacation somewhere, or just driving through Lancaster and Kershaw where there are farms, right? You're going to see these big pipes that are running through the fields out there. That's our irrigation system, okay? But we're not in the United States, we're in India. So we, along with other countries, are growing crops where there may not be adequate rainfall. Because sometimes we're in a drought, right? Not this past couple of weeks, because we were filming this in June. We've had a lot of rain, but that doesn't mean we're going to have rain later. So that means that we got to figure out how to get our crops watered without rain, right? So that's what irrigation does for us, okay? In India, I don't know if you know a lot about India, and I've not been to India, but it's normally very hot and dry, okay? Kind of like, July and August are for, South Carolina, right? However, during the summer, you are going to have a monsoon, which is a humongous rain, okay, at the beginning of summer, and then you're going to have a second one at the end of the summer. Now, if you're caught in that monsoon, you're going to be wishing you had your swimmies on, or maybe had a boat, maybe an ark. Who knows? Because it's a lot of water coming down. But in that other time, there's no water. So therefore, the people in India, which is now you, have to figure out how to keep this water for the rest of the year so their crops won't dry up. Okay? Now, forgive me if I mispronounce these, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Some of the farmers use a rahat system, which is a lever system and a wheel. Okay, so this wheel is used in this type of irrigation. And normally, you've got the center, and you've got oxen or cows or buffalo, or hey, sometimes maybe they don't have those things. They might put people out there, their family may help them, but it's usually the animals. And they rotate that wheel, okay? They walk in a circle, right? And so they're rotating that wheel. And so that's going to make the water flow into the buckets. And then the water from the buckets are dumped into a trough. Okay, you've probably seen a trough that like horses drink out of, but it's really, really long. And so that trough is going through the entire crop field. Okay, so it's distributing that water like all over the place in that trough. Okay, and so, but it's evenly, right? Everybody's getting a little bit of water, right? So that's the first type. That's the rahat. The second type of irrigation is the Dikli system. where the water is pulled from wells using buckets. Okay, now we've probably seen that, right? Using a lever to lift buckets out of, a well. Now, a fancy version of this would be like a water pump, where you're pumping it out of the ground. That's a fancy version, okay? But that's not what we're going to have, okay? And then finally, the third type of irrigation is called the moat system, okay? Now, this is when you walk over to the well and you use a pulley and you pull and pull and pull, and then you take that bucket and you walk it to the field and you got to pour it, right? You're pouring it all over your crops. Now, personally, I don't know that I'd want to do that one because that's going to be pretty tiresome, right? So, right now, I want you to pause your video and reach in your goodie bag and pull out the following materials. Okay, got your mini cups, got your popsicle sticks or craft sticks, you got rubber bands and glue, we got bottle caps, got some string, got some straws, some toothpicks, you got 2 bins. They might not look like this, but you got 2 bins. And a water pitcher, which is not in your goodie bag, but I bet you got something that you can hold water with in your kitchen, so ask your adult if they'll get that down for you. And then a timer. So your adult can be your timer, because I bet that they have a smartphone that has a little timer on it, okay? So they can be your timer, because you want to see how fast you can get it from one bin to the other when you get going, right? So once you've got all that together, restart your video when you have your materials in front of you. Welcome back. Now that you have your materials in front of you, I would like for you to take a few moments and brainstorm some ideas and choose one of the 3 types of irrigation systems that I mentioned earlier, right? So pause your video again, do some brainstorming, ask your parent, ask your brother and sister, ask your dog. They're probably not going to help you out because they probably don't have any good ideas and you maybe don't understand them, but ask them anyway, okay? And write those down and come up with an idea. Welcome back. Now that you got an idea in mind, okay, I want to remind you of the 5 steps of the design process that we talked about yesterday, okay? So number 1 was to identify the problem. And our problem is we have to irrigate our crops using one of those 3 systems, okay? The second part is brainstorming, which you just did, right? The third step is what you're about to do, and that is to design your irrigation method. The fourth step will be to create your irrigation system and then test it and retest it and redesign. Remember, you're looking at all those things. And finally, the 5th step, you're going to share your results, or the last step, you're going to share your results and reflect on what you could do differently, okay? So I know that's a lot for you to do, but I have faith in you because you're in arts camp. You got to be like engineering minds, right? So pause your video and go design your irrigation system. After you design your irrigation system, grab the adult watching the video with you and test it. And once you've done that, come on back. We can talk a little bit more about your designs. Welcome back. I must tell you that I made a complete mess. So I don't have one to show you yet. But later you will see a picture at the end of what we came up with. But I do have some things that I want you to think about. Okay? If you could redo the experiment, what would you do differently? What difference would that change make to your outcome? Another thing I would like for you to think about is the importance, super importance, of water as a natural resource. Okay, we don't have a lot of fresh water. We got a lot of oceans, right? We can't drink that water. Okay, so we're thinking about fresh water, right? So what are some things that you can do to prevent our supply of fresh water from being polluted? Why is unpolluted water so important? Now, you want to go down to the river and just get you a big old cup of that nasty water? I don't think so. I've seen things in that river water under a microscope. You do not want to drink that, okay? What are some things that you can do at home and have your family members do at home that can help you save water and not waste it? Do y'all sit there when you brush your teeth and leave that water on? Do you take a 30-minute shower? Don't do that. We're wasting our water. Okay? So think about some things that you can do to not waste it. All right? Because think it now, do you think the United States is better off with our water supply than other countries? Think about that. Do you think other countries have, the water treatment plants that we have? Probably not. I can tell you that when I've traveled to Mexico, I have seen people use the river as their own personal bathroom. And I don't mean adding water to water, if you get what I'm saying. So you think about it. All right? You want to drink that? Oh, no, not me. And not you either, I'm sure. Water is a precious natural resource that we need to continue to protect. So think about how your actions can help conserve water. Remember, if your adults took any pictures, please send them to this email address, arts.takepart@gmail.com. We'd love to see you in action and see your designs. See you tomorrow. Bye for now from Wheezy.